helping victims of human trafficking, which has become an unbelievably serious issue both here in Oklahoma and all across the country. And now there's a bill making its way through our state capitol this session that will help law enforcement in their fight to protect victims. So joining me now is Representative Jeff Boatman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Very important legislation here for so many reasons. So first, I want to ask you, how big of a problem is human trafficking here in our state?
Well, the real problematic part of that is we don't know. We have some ideas. We can talk to law enforcement and they can give us some idea of what they see, and we can talk to victim services and they can kind of tell us what they see, but there's not consolidated data. There's not a consolidated way to track it. So we honestly don't know how bad it is.
And because of that, like you said, is the reason why this legislation is now making its way through. It will create this database essentially. Walk me through what the database will kind of compile and why that is so needed.
Well, so we did a task force last session to study human trafficking, and one of the biggest things we came up with was, one of the biggest problems we came up with was that there's not this consolidated ability to track data. So this database within the Attorney General's office will allow local police and sheriff's departments, the Oklahoma Bureau of Investigation, Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs to all consolidate their reporting, but then it'll also tie in DHS and OJA, the victim services groups, and then also allow non-governmental victim services organizations to report in and view data so that they can start to see where the same people show up in different areas across the state.
And you kind of mentioned that task force there. So this is really like a consolidated effort kind of from all the players' input there. Tell me a little bit more about what you learned during that study and that task force.
Well, I think the biggest thing we learned is there's a lot more to learn. The fact that we don't have good data and we don't have the information on how to go and attack this problem, it was the number one thing that came out. The other one was trying to coordinate efforts, trying to get all of our state agencies on the same page with a standard set of best practices, trying to get funding to the organizations that are out there working with victims. Those were the real shortcomings. We are doing some laws that will change penalties for solicitation and for trafficking in human and step that up as well. But this is more on the victim side and the prevention side.
And speaking of victims and prevention, I think one of the biggest things we always hear about human trafficking is it can be in plain sight, right? It's not always necessarily how you picture it. So what would you encourage everyday Oklahomans to do to be on the lookout for so that we can all help with this issue?
Well, when we talk about human trafficking, everybody wants to mention the I-35 and I-40 corridor, and we think about trafficking people from state to state. And that's really not the problem that we have in Oklahoma. That is a problem, but it's not the majority of the cases that we see. The majority of the problem that we have is homegrown. These are our sons and daughters being trafficked by family members and people that are known to them and provided to citizens of Oklahoma. That's the part that we've really got to shut down. That's on the sex trafficking side. We also have a labor trafficking side, which does involve a lot more bringing people in. But on the sex trafficking side, it's a homegrown problem. And I think if that was the number one thing I could get people to recognize is that it's not Liam Neeson with some specific set of skills, the Taken story. This is a homegrown issue of our kids.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people picture when they think of it. So would you encourage people to continually, if something feels off, if something feels a little bit off, should we all be not afraid to, call law enforcement? What would you encourage people to do if they suspect something feels wrong?
Absolutely. If you see something, say something. We've got to worry less about maybe having guessed wrong and getting caught in an awkward situation. I would much rather be caught in an awkward situation where the police can look at it and say, no, this was fine. It was not anything that we needed to get involved with, than to have a child that doesn't get supported and gets to continue to be trafficked because I didn't say something. Right. Absolutely. Please speak up.
So back to the database that the bill will really tackle here. Does anything like that exist currently? I mean, what is the current situation and why was there the need for this implementation?
Well, there is data, but it tends to be siloed. So in the victim services organizations, they have their own databases. Different groups of law enforcement has their own databases. But there's not an ability to come together and share that data. And it has to be done in such a way that you can protect confidentiality and personally identifiable information, and still be able to know who you're talking about and be able to do the searches and investigation that you need to do. So that's really more what it's about, was pulling together data that hopefully already exists.
Now we talk about the victim side of it too. Will there also be a way to track perpetrators who are perpetuating this?
Absolutely. On the law enforcement side,
Yeah.
that's going to be a big part of it. Absolutely.
Okay. So of course everyone wants to know, where is the bill now? Where does it go next? Kind of the inner workings of the State House here. So tell us where it is currently and what's going to happen.
So we finished through the House process. We voted last week and voted it off the House floor. So now it goes over to the Senate. Senator Darrell Weaver's been carrying that on the Senate side. He was my partner on the task force project as well. He's fantastic to work with. He has a very deep background in law enforcement. He ran the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs for a while. And so it should go well over there, but they've got to get it through their committee, and then they've got to get it through their floor process as well. Probably the bigger challenge, because I don't think anybody's going to stand up and vote and say, no, I don't think we ought to stop human trafficking. The bill ought to go through. The big challenge is we'll need to put funding behind it. And so we've got to continue to have the conversations about putting some dollars behind this unit that we've set up.
Okay, a lot of movement here, but all in the name of helping fight human trafficking and help these victims here. Representative Jeff Boatman, thank you so much for coming on today. We really appreciate it.
Sure, thank you so much. I appreciate the chance to come on.